Good to see you, Matt.
Thank you.
How are you?
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm
Very
honored.
excited to have you too. How many of you were at our SingleStore Pro Max launch or have heard of it or watched it earlier in the year? Good show of hands. That's awesome. So Matt was actually with us at the Pro Max launch. Matt and I had a fireside chat there as well. So Matt, for the folks that weren't there, why don't you just tell us a little bit about, well, I think all of us probably know Adobe in the room, but maybe folks don't know what Adobe Workfront is. We can tell them about that.
Okay. So I am a part of Adobe Workfront. It is a business unit within Adobe. We got acquired by Adobe 4 years ago. Our solution is basically work management, so project, task, portfolio, program management. And one of the reasons Adobe was really interested in us is a big part of Adobe's business that people aren't aware of is the Experience Cloud, which powers, it's basically tools for marketers, marketing departments at companies to help market their products. And so, as you can imagine, a really big project that you have to run is a marketing campaign. It has all kinds of intricacies and complexities that need to be, coordinating a lot of work. So there's a lot of planning and execution that goes into a marketing campaign. And then after the fact, you usually want to measure a marketing campaign and determine whether it was successful and should we repeat it again. So a lot of our big customers, we have big enterprise customers like Coca-Cola, T-Mobile, Disney, and they run massive marketing campaigns across these really big organizations. And they want to basically plan, execute, and measure them after the fact. And so Workfront helps them to do that.
So all of that sounds super interesting. What scares me about it is that it probably creates a massive data challenge. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the data challenge that you guys have with Workfront?
Okay, and that slide before you might have seen. So we have a product now in Workfront that enables customers to build their own customer-facing, ad hoc reports that they can go in and build these widgets and dashboards and measure what's happening with a marketing campaign. Is it successful or what's at risk? What are the problems that I'm encountering along the way? Who owns what pieces of it? What's the status? And we move forward. As you can imagine, when we have thousands of customers and hundreds of thousands of concurrent users, it becomes a hard data problem. So things like monthly active users, we have 500,000. We have 10 billion records that need to be queried and joined, and we have custom fields and the ability to do really fine-grained authorization on your projects and tasks. And so those queries that people run end up being very intensive on our database systems. We're often joining a 500 million row table with a 4 billion row or a 5 billion row table and joining that all together, and we have to come back within a few seconds to the customer so they have a good experience on their dashboard. And yeah, tens of databases. We're getting close to hundreds of databases soon and 250 tables. These are all kind of the main entities that we report on, things like projects and tasks. And even now we allow customers to define their own entities and model their data the way they want. So that's becoming even more of a engineering challenge / nightmare of trying to report on customers' own defined data.
Certainly SingleStore makes it easier.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, good. He's not paid to say that, but
well, I would say even like the JSON features, that enables you to have customer-defined schemas that we're reporting on, so that they're not having to report on these canned columns and things. It might be things that they've made, they've invented, and we're still able to report really fast on JSON data.
That's amazing. So earlier in the year when we met at ProMax, I asked you, what you were doing for AI in Workfront, and admittedly, like I don't want to put you on the spot, but it was an interesting conversation because it was like, oh, we're not quite sure yet, but we're thinking of something, and we had some ideas. And tell us a bit about what you're doing now. We're 10 months later.
Okay, so yeah, we definitely have come down the road more. We started out like most companies. Of course, the cool part of Adobe does Firefly and all this cool stuff in Photoshop with creative products, and some really amazing AI things. On the Experience Cloud side, we're doing like basically what everyone else is doing. We're putting a chat bot in and having it scour our documentation, and so you can ask questions. So a customer's in Workfront and they're asking, how do I create a project? How do I build a marketing campaign? And you know, this really kind of like what Raj said earlier, we've taken the easy things and automated them, the first step. And so that's very valuable to customers. Now they don't have to go like search in Google and find the documentation and dig through there. It's right there. The agent is helping them kind of figure out how to do things. The next level for us is agentic. It's now, can you help me? Can you be my co-pilot? Can you do things for me? Can I take hard things and make them easy? So things like, can you help me build a marketing campaign? I don't even know what content to put in there. Or can you create a bunch of tasks and assign it to a bunch of people? And even, can you build me some assets? Like, can you have Firefly generate me some images for my website that I want for my marketing campaign? Or so we're getting to that next level, I think, of day 2 or day 3 of AI. And another one that's really relevant to me is, can I start asking questions like, what projects are overdue, or you know, things that I can query my database in SingleStore and have it come back and say, you know what, I created you this nice little dashboard widget. Do you want to put it on your dashboard and keep track of this metric that you just asked about? So we're getting more sophisticated, where it's almost a merge of BI and AI in one, where we can ask questions of our data and it comes back with relevant information.
So is it safe to say that Workfront can project manage SingleStore now for next year?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
good. All right.
I'll just let it submit to the machines. Let
Okay.
them,
All right. I'm
run
going
your
to
project.
hold you to that. Awesome. Cool. Well, you know, we went through some of the results last time, you know, with you at the Pro Max launch, and I think it's important to revisit some of those because the results you have are just amazing at Adobe. So tell us just a bit about the impact SingleStore's made.
So yeah, we've had amazing results. I mean, there are all these really cool features of SingleStore, but at the root of it is amazing speed of getting data in and then querying the data that's in there. That's what we bought it for. That's what we love it for. So 1 to 2 second ingestion and then access to real-time queries. So again, I don't know if a lot of you have sat there and waited for a Snowflake or Databricks query to come back and it's 20 or 30 seconds. In our case, before we even came here, we were using Postgres, and then we played around with Elasticsearch, and it was just tens of seconds sometimes, or even minutes that you'd wait for a query to come back. So at the root of this, just real-time, fast speed is amazing. Query performance has been amazing, and our cost has gone down. We actually have reduced a lot of that Postgres sprawl of databases and whatnot because we've been able to consolidate a lot of stuff in SingleStore.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt, for being here. Really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you
Take
for
care.
having me.